Hey, hey, hey. So here I am giving you the answers for the Ancient China Study Guide. Remember that on Tuesday or Wednesday is when you're going to have the quiz over Ancient China, and it is tougher than the other quizzes. So take a second to look over your notes and really complete this study guide. Okay, so the universals of culture, this is on every single study guide. You should know this by now. We have done it so much, but of course, technology and architecture are structures, inventions, tools, and weapons. Economy means occupations, currency, trade routes, imports, exports, goods, and types of transportation. Worldview are beliefs in religion, celebrations, holidays, food, gender roles, class systems, personal adornment, that's a fancy word for clothes or jewelry, and possessions, education, and communication. Government means leaders, forms of government, and role of the military. And the geography is actually the location, the physical geography, like mountains, rivers, islands, things like that, and historical landmarks such as the Great Wall of China. Okay, next. So here are the dynasties. Just going to move that so it's not in the way. So the first one, 1122 to 221 BC, is the Zhou dynasty. They're a collection of rival city-states ruled by vassal lords. Irrigation and iron casting improved farming. Multiplication tables and Confucius appear for the first time. So this is the first time that we really see Confucianism, and remember that that is going to be the guiding principle of China, of the Chinese society for 2,000 years. So we see Confucianism appearing around this time in the Zhou dynasty. The Qin dynasty was short but mighty. So Qin unites China, so before they were city-states, and so Emperor Qin brings them all under one rule. Remember, he's the one that was thought of as the first emperor of China. And I will tell you, if you are taking the time to actually watch this video, that there's a short answer question on the quiz that specifically wants to know about Emperor Qin and if he was a good guy or a bad guy. Remember in class we discussed he was the one that had here's the army, the terracotta army in the background here. And so hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions, were killed by Qin. He made them work on the Great Wall of China, and if they made any mistakes, they were killed on the spot. And he made it so that the people, all the farmers had to work on these building projects. So then the people didn't have enough food because they didn't have enough farmers. So he's not really a great leader at all, I'd say. But he did make a lot of roads and other construction projects, which leads to a lot of innovations in China. So overall, not great, but he does pave the way for bigger and better things for China. He also totally kind of refuted Confucianism. So they have a break from Confucianism for this period of time from 221 BC or 221 to 210 BC. And if you were a Confucius scholar, then you were killed. And he tries to like burn all the Confucius books and all of that stuff. So he is not a fan of Confucianism, Emperor Qin. So then we have Emperor Han. People of China still call themselves the sons of Han. So they feel very connected. Han is a dynasty that's around for 400 years. Although here, this does not make up 400 years. But 202 to 222 or to 220 AD. So that is not a long time, but 400 years of growth and prosperity under the Han dynasty. I'm sorry, I'm just looking back at the thing to see if that Oh, 202 BC. Haha. I see. Whoops, sorry. So 202 BC to 220 AD. So it's 400 years of prosperity. China is, the Han dynasty is very beloved. The territory is expanded to what we now think of as modern day China. And this is when we actually have the appearance of the Silk Road. So the Silk Road arises, which you remember we spent the whole day in class talking about it. The Silk Road is kind of the first example of globalization. It connects all of the known, that region together, and it leads to great prosperity for China. So that happens during the Han Dynasty. The Tang Dynasty is 618 to 906. This is AD now. We've crossed over into AD. This is considered the greatest dynasty of China's history. They have a lot of arts and literature growth during this time. Poetry and religious tolerance are two things that come out of the Tang Dynasty. The Ming Dynasty is also super long, 1368 to 1644 AD. It's a peaceful period, and this is when we start seeing what we actually think of as China, like the dishes with the intricate, the white porcelain with the intricate blue patterns on it. Actually comes from the Ming Dynasty. They also had quite the naval fleet that expanded to the African coast, but unfortunately, it didn't really have that lasting of an impact after this dynasty. And then 1644 to 1911 is the Manchu dynasty. So these are the Manchu are foreign; they're not from China, and they basically kind of make it so that they don't preserve a lot of the old ways, and this is the end of dynastic rule in China, and it's what finally leads to them trying to become the People's Republic of China in 1912. Okay, this fill in the blank was confusing to me, especially this first one. I think it's supposed to be the compass and trade travel help to connect faraway regions of the world with each other. You could also say horses. The next one is the Silk Road helped to connect China with the Middle East and the Mediterranean regions, and travel could take weeks or months along this route. One item that came into China via the Silk Road were horses. Remember, horses came from that from the Arabian Peninsula and then traveled to China. Two exports they had were silk and gunpowder. Of course, they also exported the compass and diseases, and paper was another export that they had. And then one negative export was diseases. This always happens whenever we connect with one another for the first time. There's a rise of a lot of different diseases, and people die. It's not necessarily something that a large portion of people understand is going to happen, but every time two civilizations are connected for the first time, disease is something that follows. Okay, so religion and worldview. Men and women should strive to find peace within the world around them. So just looking at the world as it is, that's going to be Taoism or Taoism. Children need to understand their place in society and respect their parents and elders. That's going to be Confucianism, right? That's very much in line with that social hierarchy. All things in nature are made up of both light and dark. Of course, that's referring to the yin and the yang. So that's going to be Taoism. All humans experience suffering brought on by desire. That's Buddhism. Remember, they called the suffering and the things that you wanted dust, and you were trying to reach a state of nirvana, which literally means a place without dust or a place without wind, because wind blows dust. So if you can reach that sensory deprivation tank of nirvana, where nothing is, then you will have truly freed yourself from dust. And I will tell you that definition of nirvana being a place without wind is on the test. So there's another little bonus if you're still with me on this study guide video. And then the last one is it's the government's job to model good citizens and how they should behave in a country. That's going to be Confucianism because it was all about the government. So Confucianism was about the government and how society should be formed. Taoism is all about nature, being back with nature, finding a balance in life, understanding that all things have good parts and bad parts, and both parts are needed in order to be a whole person. Light and dark, cool and warm, aggressive and submissive, male and female. All of these things are needed in order for any living thing to truly be itself and be whole. And then Buddhism is where you're trying to rid the world of suffering and sorrow. The Buddha was the Indian prince who traveled for 7 years and finds the path of enlightenment. He says he finds the Four Noble Truths and then creates the Eightfold Path that everyone should follow in order to finally reach their ultimate goal and to stop that cycle of reincarnation, which is nirvana. Okay, remember Buddhism had all those symbols too, like the lotus flower and the mandala. All of these you can find, these definitions can all be found in Quizlet, so be sure to type each of those in. If you have any questions, I'll be checking my email throughout the rest of the day. Otherwise, be prepared to take your quiz with your sub on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. All right, bye.